Hey, everybody, this is Angel with Alternative Health with Angel. Thank you so much for choosing to watch my 20-minute video today. I'm going to give you actionable tips on how to get more energy. But I just wanted you to see my face first so you know I'm real. And now I'm going to share my screen and we will get started with the program in just 2 seconds here. So, tired of being tired, tips on increasing energy. So here we go. We're going to start talking about how to get you more energy. And I'm sure y'all are ready to do that. But I first need to mention that I have a doctor of naturopathy degree. However, the state of Florida does not currently issue license for doctors of naturopathy. So for this reason, I'm not licensed in the state of Florida. So you need to think about everything I tell you today is for educational purposes only, and it's not been evaluated by the FDA. And if you want to try any medications or supplements, you need to talk to your healthcare provider first. So thanks for that. So who am I? Well, I am Angel Hill. I have more than a dozen years in alternative health. You can look at my LinkedIn for all my degrees and certifications. I love to go to school. I'm the owner of Alternative Health with Angel, an online platform, and you can find me at most socials at AltHealthAngel. So go find me there and send me a DM and tell me what's going on. So, but you are here today because you're not feeling like the best version of yourself. You may be having fatigue, brain fog, you're easily overwhelmed, anxiety, all these things. And you may have heard that these symptoms are normal, or maybe even that they're just in your head, but they are not normal. They are common. It does not mean that you need to be stuck with them, though, okay? Just because they're common does not mean that this is something that you have to have. So, we're talking about adrenal fatigue, which is what's happening when you lose this energy. And it's really well known among alternative health practitioners. According to alternative medicine theories, these symptoms develop as a result of chronic stress. And the answer lies in supporting the adrenal glands, which are right on top of the kidneys, as you can see in that picture there. And they're these small hormone producing glands that live and release our stress hormones like cortisol. Now, keep cortisol in your brain because that is the stress hormone that causes belly fat. So we're going to be talking about it a little bit as we go along here. All right. So cortisol is the most important adrenal hormone in terms of helping our body adapt to stress. And a powerful anti-inflammatory. It regulates blood sugar, it supports metabolism, it controls body fat, and protects us from infections. And notice I said body fat, that's that belly fat that we talked about earlier. It's more than likely from cortisol. So what happens is we get in these stressed out states and our body is still stuck like 1,000 years ago. So it thinks we're about to starve because the only reason that you could have been starving, been in stress that long ago is because either something was chasing you or you were starving, right? So anyway, your body thinks it's going into starvation mode. And so it holds that belly fat, except we never pull away from it. We keep going in this stress cycle that we don't seem to stop. And then you may say, well, I'm eating. So why is my body acting this way? Why does it think it's starving? Well, unfortunately, most of us don't eat a diet full of whole foods. We eat a lot of processed foods and our bodies cannot recognize that. Just it's not real food. And so your body just says, okay, I'm still not getting this whole food that I need to operate properly. So what are you going to do? Well, you need to start supporting the adrenals, making a few lifestyle and nutrition changes, some targeted dietary supplements, and you can produce profound improvements quickly. And that is literally what I'm all about, getting you better quickly. I like to call myself the alternative health concierge. I can get you there. So what's really happening? Well, like I said, we get in this chronic stress environment. We have that flight or flight response, and then we get stuck in that survival state, right? So what we want to do is get those modern stressors gone. Excuse me, let me go back just a second here. Work deadlines, financial challenges. I'm trying to get this to go away, but I don't know how to do that. There we go. Okay. Financial challenges, poor sleep, processed foods, and then something that people really don't think about sometimes, but we could have hidden inflammation from like food sensitivities or even an unbalanced gut microbiome. So this keeps us into this continual stress response and a relentless need for hormones, especially that cortisol, which we talked about earlier. So that cortisol is coming out, it's lowering the inflammation, but our belly fat's coming with it. So what can you do? Well, we can make one adjustment at a time, be willing to take action. That's the most important thing. And don't let perfection get in the way. Now drink water. Um, Goodness, sorry about that. So this is my first tip. If you're writing it down, number one, first tip, you want to drink water first thing in the morning. You want at least 8 ounces of water before you drink or eat anything else. You want to add a squeeze of lemon to that and a quarter teaspoon of salt. Now, sea salt helps reduce cortisol and adrenaline by preventing dehydration. Now, you want to look for an optimal high quality sea salt to make sure you get the minerals. Now, the reason we're adding the lemon is to help alkalize our body. Many people with adrenal fatigue actually have acidic bodies. So this elixir can actually help alkalize you so your pH is level. My favorite salt to use is this real salt, as you see in the picture here, but you can also use pink Himalayan or Celtic salt. Just make sure you get good quality salt. You don't want to get cheap salt from the grocery store. Now, this seems so easy. And it's my first thing I tell people in my alternative health memberships is to do this. And they always report back that they get such benefits from this. So just start incorporating this tomorrow. And if you want to find out more about my memberships, just go to alternativehealthwithangel.com. Now, if you want to be an overachiever, add electrolytes to that second glass of water that you have a day. So first glass is for the lemon and water. The second glass is for the electrolytes. Now, most people know that water and electrolytes are necessary for optimal hydration, but the truth is hydration just scratches the surface of what electrolytes can do for you. If you think that the body is like 60% water, that means most every cell contains electrolytes. Unfortunately, as you can see here on this slide, many things will diminish the electrolyte levels. So without replenishment, this imbalance can cause lower energy levels, brain fog, headaches, muscle cramps. But see what happens when you have appropriate levels of electrolytes on the right there. You get healthy brain function, your exercise gets better, your blood pressure gets better, your mood gets better, your hormones get better, just by having simple electrolytes. Now, you want to make sure that you get electrolytes that are high quality because a lot of electrolytes are low quality. They have highly refined salt in them and a lot of times a lot of added sugar, which you do not need. So I like to look at Paleo Valley's essential electrolytes. They're full of electrolytes that are full spectrum minerals. They have trace minerals in it from unprocessed sea salt. And their organic coconut water is in it. They have seaweed extract and seaweed water to help with optimal hydration. And they do this with all out sugar. So I highly recommend that one. It comes in watermelon, orange, lemon, lime. My favorite flavor is orange. My husband likes to use them in the traditional way. He puts them in his water and just drinks them. But I like to put it in my protein shake, or sometimes I'll even put it into my yogurt and just eat it like as a little treat. So any way you can get those electrolytes in, that's going to be great. The next thing you could do is my favorite thing in the whole world. If I had a magic wand, I would declare that everyone had to eat protein for breakfast for their first meal of the day. Why? Because protein and healthy fat in the morning help regulate our blood sugar all day long. So you want to eat that protein for the first meal of the day. That can be eggs. It can be dinner from the night before. It can be a protein shake. You want to get at least 15 to 30 grams of protein, preferably every meal, but definitely that first meal of the day if you don't do anything else. The other thing to balance your blood sugar is to avoid liquid sugars, sweet tea, soda, ice cream, sports drinks. Any of those, they are going to send you on this. And here we go, this roller coaster, this blood sugar roller coaster. So what happens when we don't have protein for the first meal a day? You get this blood sugar roller coaster. It swings, that leads to a release of stress hormones, as you can see in this right here. And while blood sugar balance provides hormonal stability, that translates to mood stability and a sense of calmness. So instead of that roller coaster, we want calm. We want a straight line across the day between these green lines here. Now, blood sugar and adrenals work hand in hand and carry many of the same symptoms. So one last note on blood sugar. Could talk about it all day long, but I'm not going to. So on the left here, this study was just released this year. Significant harmful associations between dietary sugar consumption and 18 endocrine and metabolic outcomes, 10 cardiovascular, 7 cancer outcomes. So sugar consumption leads to a lot of bad things. Now, on the right here, best-selling author Wisabella Wentz, who wrote the Hashimoto's Protocol and the Adrenal Transformation Protocol, she did a survey of her clients and asked them to rate which adrenal interventions were most helpful. And the top two were blood sugar balancing and hydration. So these top two that I've just given you were her clients, who she has thousands of clients, thought were the best too. So try them. It's so easy, and you can start literally tomorrow. Now, we talked about inflammation can be causing a lot of things. When you're inflamed, there is an ongoing demand for anti-inflammatory cortisol. Remember the hormone that we talked about earlier, belly fat? And it neutralizes the inflammation. So that's where our body's craving for it. But if there's so much inflammation, eventually the adrenals get tired and can't do it anymore, which leads to more inflammation and adrenal fatigue. And I just wanted to pop some up here of what some causes are of inflammation. They can be sugar, which we just talked about, smoking, gut issues, which you may not even know you have. So when it comes to gut issues, I like to tell my clients that just because your stomach doesn't hurt doesn't mean there's not an issue there. So kind of keep that in the back of your head. Food sensitivities. I, for years, didn't think I had food sensitivities, and then I found out I did as soon as I got rid of some. So that's always something I like to look into for people. Stress. We constantly have stress, but we think about external stress, like, oh, our jobs are hard. But food can be stressful to our bodies. We can have another illness that's causing stress in our bodies. There can be external stress like pollution and mold, which sometimes we have to get into, especially in the area I live in Florida. We have a lot of mold issues. So it's something to definitely think about when we're looking at all these causes. So my little girl here, she is trying to beat down the inflammation. So that's just what we're doing. Let's get that inflammation beat down. Now, one way to do that, and it's an instant cure to help get the rush of cortisol controlled and to help your stress, is mindful breathing. It's an instant remedy that can help us lower our our cortisol levels by 27%. And it reduces blood pressure immediately. It just takes 3 long, slow, deep breaths to tap into that power. By practicing mindful breathing regularly, we can support physical and mental relaxation. I try to start every day with meditation, and whenever I can, I get in the woods. I find that nature helps me be mindful too. I also have a retail store, and just recently a customer came up to me and she told me that she took 3 long breaths and it really changed her mind. And it made me so happy because I know these things work, right? Like, we just have to remember to do them. So one of the problems we have is we start off with a deficit because our soil is so depleted. And then we top that off with undetected inflammation, gut issues, medications, lack of thyroid hormones, all these things. So that leads us down this path of just this stress just gets us into this bad state. So what do we need to do? Well, nutrient deficiencies add to our stress load as well. And the stress response depletes these nutrients even more, burning through them at a high rate. So it's this hamster wheel we get on. If we don't replenish those supplies, the body enters a catabolic state, which means it's basically breaking itself down for nutrients to fuel the adrenals. And consequently, that ratchets up our stress again. So if we're in this catabolic state or breaking down state for a prolonged period of time, we are likely to experience severe nutrient deficiencies, which makes our adrenal functions even worse. So we have to first look at our diet. What do we eat? We need to eat unprocessed foods, high quality, nutrient dense foods, which let our body know that nutrient needs are being met. When we eat highly processed foods, what we're doing is we're giving empty calories to our body that sends a message that our body's not safe, that the food supply is scarce, and that triggers stress, starting the cycle all over again. And keep in mind, we don't want to be afraid of healthy fats. By the way, my favorite first meal of the day is going to be eggs and an avocado. So just keep that in the back of your head. Now, some things you can do to help yourself. You can save your recipes on Pinterest. I have a dinner board. I have a salad dressing board, a vegetable board, all kinds of boards. I just pop in the app. I scroll and find something I haven't cooked in a while. I add it to my notes app in my phone. That's my weekly plans for the meal. So I know, okay, I have 5 meals, 6 meals a week I'm going to make. And I usually have one night for leftovers. And I just have that as a constant note in my phone so I can remember what's coming up for the week. I also have an app on my phone where I keep grocery lists, and that helps if I have to actually walk into the store. I tell myself, just stick to the list. Now, that does take a little bit of discipline, but one of the smartest things I've done is gone to apps for like grocery shopping. So for instance, instead of walking into Target and get excited about all their new food that looks yummy to me, that's probably not good for me though, I just order what I need on the app and they deliver it to my trunk. So there is no temptation. You also know the rule about going to the grocery store hangry. You don't want to do that, right? So grab some nuts or other protein snacks before you go in so you don't make any hangry mistakes. For the weekends, for the weekdays, I like to pick meals that are like 30 minutes or less. I go for really short ones. On the weekends, I may cook longer meals. And I also leave a day empty so that I can have those leftovers, like I mentioned earlier. So just keep that in mind as well. You don't have to cook every night of the week. You can have leftover night. So something else we can do is sleep. I'm sure you know that getting sleep is certainly a big part of rebalancing the adrenals. But while sleep is important, their circadian rhythm is really about more than just sleep. It's tied to our adrenal function, our mood, our energy. It regulates several bodily functions, which we don't have time to get into. But when it's working properly, it runs in sync with a 24-hour day and the natural cycle of light and dark. And when this natural rhythm gets disrupted, our energy levels and sleep are profoundly affected. So there are many reasons why this can be affected. Artificial light can do it. We make nighttime as bright as day, and then we decide to settle down and we still have our electronics on. So additionally, many of us spend our days completely inside, never seeing any natural sunlight. Other causes can be like being an overnight worker or a shift worker, travel. Think about jet lag. Jet lag is extremely hard on our circadian rhythm. And certain meds like ADD medication, blood pressure, and antidepressants can cause some issues as well. So this is the cortisol curve. So what we want to do is we want to have high cortisol in the morning and low cortisol at night. So when we get exposure to sunlight during the day and limit our light at night, that helps us do that. So one way to do that is getting bright light with an hour of waking. It helps us to have that high cortisol release to kickstart our day. We also want to find our sleep window. Some of us know exactly when we can go to sleep at night. That helps us do it, be at the exact right moment. If you have an Aura ring, they'll actually tell you. And develop a routine. Now, that routine can be anything. It can be taking 30 minutes to take a bath and just read, whatever you want to do. It needs to be something replicable so you can do it every night. And what happens is our brain gets used to that. Okay, now you're doing this. This means that we're about to go to sleep. So having that constant routine is really going to help. Now, if you're having chronic sleep issues, make sure you're exercising in the morning. Exercises raises cortisol levels, which we want in the morning. But if you're exercising at night, it's raising those cortisol levels at night, and that is not helpful. Okay, so just really be careful when we're talking about that. Now, we want you to ease into exercise. We know that movement can help our bodies heal, but in times of adrenal stress, the wrong type of movement can be overwhelming and actually deepen our adrenal dysfunction. So the type of exercise is dependent on which stage of adrenal dysfunction you are in. Generally speaking, if you feel calmer and more relaxed after aerobic activity like biking or walking, then keep doing it. But if you feel more tired after aerobic exercise, that's a sign that it's probably likely too intense. As far as strength building exercise, I recommend starting with light stretching. Okay, that's your best spot. Then you want to move on to yoga, then gradually shifting to Pilates, and then you can add in weights. So this is a slow process we want your body in, so that it can get to where it needs to be while we're repairing those adrenal glands. And that is something I help people with because it's hard to do on your own. You need support sometimes. And our bodies are already stressed. We just don't want to overstress them with exercise. That being said, you don't want to be a couch potato either. You need to get some movement, even if that's just walking around your house while the commercials are on. So find your local yoga studio. If you can't do that, there's this great free app called Fit On. They have all kinds of exercises available for free. Highly recommend that. So to sum it up, we need to drink some lemon water in the morning, right? And add some salt to that. The next meal or the next drink, you want to add those electrolytes. You want to eat protein for the first meal of the day and really all meals of the day. We need to remember to breathe. Remember just 3 breaths. We want to eat some real food, get light in the morning and let it be dark at night. You want to go 12 hours between dinner and breakfast. We didn't talk about that. We can talk about that later, though. And we want to ease into exercise. So if you know someone who needs this information but doesn't want to watch this webinar, send them to my website, Alternative Health with Angel, and they can pick up my 8-minute pod that gives them some actionable tips. And remember, you can reach out on socials as well. I offer alternative health memberships. I do 3x4 genetics as well, and preconception, postpartum nutritional planning. And also I work with PCOS clients. So let me be your alternative health concierge. And thank you so much for listening today. You have a good one.